You wouldn't believe it if I told you, but the man who once made every maid quit within a day, the man who was feared for his temper and his impossible demands, ended up begging someone to stay. And the person who changed everything for him wasn't a maid, wasn't a nurse, wasn't even someone looking for a job, it was a single dad veteran who came looking for something entirely different. If you're watching this, make sure you stick to the end because the twist will make you believe in second chances. And hey, while you're here, hit that like button and subscribe, because stories like this, they might just change your day. It all began in the towering glass mansion of Damien Cole, a reclusive billionaire who had been confined to a wheelchair after a devastating car accident. Once, he'd been a force in the business world, sharp, ruthless, untouchable. But after the accident, his wealth became a cage. He refused to let anyone close, and his reputation for firing or scaring away every caretaker became legend. Some said it was his impossible demands. Others whispered that it was the way he would tear into people's insecurities until they crumbled. No maid ever lasted a day. Enter Jack Turner, a 38-year-old single father and Army veteran. Jack wasn't looking for a job as a caretaker. He'd come to Damien's estate for something far simpler, a maintenance contract for the garden and grounds. He needed extra work to provide for his 10-year-old daughter, Lily. Her mother had left years ago, and Jack had learned to fill both roles, tough protector and gentle comforter. Jack had seen pain before, he'd served in 2 tours overseas, watched friends fall in battle, carried scars both visible and invisible. So when Damien's assistant, a pale young man named Victor, scoffed at the idea of Jack meeting the boss, Jack didn't flinch. Their first meeting was a storm. Damien sat in his study, glaring from behind a mahogany desk, his wheelchair turned slightly away as if dismissing Jack before the conversation even began. "What do you want?" Damien's voice was sharp, dripping with disinterest. "Just here to talk about maintaining the grounds," Jack replied evenly. Damien smirked, the corner of his mouth curling in a way that felt more like a warning than amusement. "The last gardener left after 2 hours. Said my attitude was bad for his health." "Are you fragile too?" Most people would have bristled. Jack didn't. He simply crossed his arms and said, "I've been shot at in the desert. I've crawled through broken glass to drag my brother in arms to safety. Your words aren't going to break me." Something flickered in Damien's eyes, annoyance, maybe curiosity. "Fine. You get a week. But if I tell you to leave, you leave. No questions." Jack agreed, but it didn't take long to see why no one stayed. Damien barked orders like a drill sergeant, criticized everything Jack did, and seemed determined to push him away. But Jack noticed things others probably missed. The way Damien's hand shook slightly when he tried to lift a coffee cup. The flash of pain in his eyes when he thought no one was looking. The way he always sat near the window in the late afternoon, watching the driveway as if expecting someone who never came. On the third day, Jack's daughter Lily had to wait for him after school at the mansion because her babysitter was sick. Damien wasn't thrilled when she wandered into his study, clutching a sketchpad. "What's that?" he asked gruffly. "A dragon," she said proudly, holding up a bright, messy drawing. Damien raised an eyebrow. "Looks more like a lizard." Jack's heart sank, he expected Lily to pout. But instead, she giggled. "Maybe it's a lizard pretending to be a dragon. That's what brave lizards do." Something changed in Damien's expression then, something softer, though he quickly hid it behind his usual scowl. The days passed, and little by little, the walls Damien had built began to crack. Jack didn't treat him like a fragile patient or an untouchable billionaire. He challenged him, made him do small things on his own, even when Damien snapped at him for it. One evening, during a sudden storm, a power outage plunged the mansion into darkness. Damien panicked, something Jack had never seen before. His hands clenched the armrests of his wheelchair, his breathing quickened. Jack knelt in front of him, steady and calm. "You're safe. I've got you," he said firmly. In that moment, Damien admitted something he'd never told anyone: he wasn't afraid of the dark itself. He was afraid of being helpless in it. Afraid of the silence that reminded him of the crash. Jack didn't pity him. He simply stayed, flashlight in hand, until the lights returned. From then on, Damien began asking Jack to stay a little longer each day. It wasn't just about the garden anymore. Jack started helping him with small physical therapy exercises. Lily sometimes joined them, making games out of the routines. Damien, to his own shock, started laughing more. But not everyone was happy. Victor, the assistant, felt threatened by Jack's growing influence. One afternoon, Victor cornered Jack and hissed, "You think you're helping him? He doesn't need a friend. He needs discipline. You'll see he'll toss you out like everyone else." That night, Damien proved him wrong. Jack had been preparing to leave when Damien rolled up to him and said, "You're not going anywhere. I don't know why, but you make this place feel less like a prison. And Lily, she's the first person who's made me feel like a person again, not just a man in a chair. So, I'm asking you, don't leave." Jack smiled.